Hey! Hi, how you doing? This is Ryan, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. This is what you are introduced to when you boot up the video game Alien Isolation. Now this is what you're introduced to when you boot up the video game Aliens Fireteam Elite. Immediately, as soon as you start up these games, you can see, you can hear, and you can feel the reverence for and the understanding of the source material. The Alien franchise is one of the most beloved in cinema and science fiction, and after being done so very dirty by the tragic Aliens colonial marines, many were skeptical and apprehensive about a new shooter video game taking place in the Alien universe. When Aliens Fireteam was announced half a year ago, I myself would be lying if I didn't admit I had my own concerns about the game's quality before launch. But upon launching the game for the very first time and just watching and absorbing the first few opening minutes, and after playing and completing the very first campaign mission, all of my concerns, all of my worries washed away and were laid to rest. This is a really good one, folks. A great one, even. Hell, you know what? A special one at that. Aliens Fireteam Elite is a love letter to the Alien franchise. In its entirety, surprisingly. Fireteam Elite makes reference to and pays homage to just about every entry in the series franchise, and I don't just mean the films, but the video games and the comic books and the novels. While undoubtedly, the film Aliens is where Fireteam Elite takes its primary inspiration from, there's also a shocking amount of love and attention given to the video game Alien Isolation and the film Prometheus. That's right, if you were one of the few who liked the movie Prometheus, this game is shockingly loyal to it in its details. Everything you see in this game, everything you hear in this game, it was made from a place of true passion for the Alien franchise. Developer Cold Iron Studios clearly loves Aliens, and I can't help but be deeply appreciative of that. Now, above all else, what Aliens Fireteam Elite succeeds at the most is the fantasy fulfillment of being a colonial marine from the Aliens universe, blasting away with their unique and iconic sci-fi weaponry against an overwhelming horde of xenomorphs. You know how the Batman Arkham games made you feel like Batman? You know how the Mad Max video game made you feel like Max? You know how Terminator Resistance made you feel like a resistance fighter in the future battling against Terminators and Skynet? It's those kinds of levels of fantasy fulfillment that Aliens Fireteam Elite reaches. So I can't stress this enough. If you are a fan of the Alien movies and the Alien video games, then this is a must-play for you. This is a must-play for fans. Anyways, now, it's about time I start talking about the actual contents of the video game Aliens Fireteam Elite, eh? The game is a third-person shooter with a survival horde-esque design in the same vein as games like Left 4 Dead, Vermintide, Payday, a Left 4 Dead-like, if you would. Or a co-op horde shooter? We need a proper name for this subgenre. Come on, gamers, let's get to it. We have Metroidvanias, Souls-likes. What are we going to call this genre? Tangent aside, you at least now have some idea as to the style of this game. A game with an emphasis on co-op play, resource management, having to deal with special enemy types that can disable or hinder you amongst the hordes of cannon fodder, and an emphasis on replaying missions, with instances of randomization and RNG sprinkled about. If you've played Left 4 Dead, if you've played Vermintide, if you've played Payday, you have some idea of what you're getting into here. But what sets Alien's Fireteam Elite apart is its amount of customization available, and surprisingly enough, the third-person perspective. No, seriously, think about it. Even the upcoming Back 4 Blood and Warhammer 40k Darktide, more Left 4 Dead-like co-op horde shooters are in the first-person perspective. And with the exception of World War Z, Alien's Fireteam Elite is one of the few games in this subgenre to take place in the third person. That's pretty crazy to think about, actually. But alas, it's about time I got into the nitty-gritty individual aspects of the game, eh? First up, let's talk about graphics. Now, for the most part, the game looks pretty good, great even at times. But there are some noticeable blemishes. While the environments and lighting are absolutely fantastic, some truly mastercraft work here in terms of environmental design, level design, and lighting. Despite Alien's Fireteam Elite being an indie game, a AA game, and not a AAA game, it sure as hell looks like a AAA video game the majority of the time when you see these environments. Weapons look superb as well, with a striking amount of detail. The character models for all the enemies you face, the xenomorphs, the synthetics, and the pathogen mutants, all look great with a fair amount of detail. But then we come to the human character models, with the skin textures, clothing textures, and the textures on the faces looking muddy, looking almost unfinished in a way. Just the human character models stick out like a sore thumb when you look at everything else the game has to offer graphically. Keep in mind, by no means is this some major fault of the game. It's just when you break down the game from a visual perspective, the human character models just stick out as being of a poorer quality than everything else in the game. It's a criticism that must be made, but by no means a deal breaker of any sort. Lastly, in terms of graphics, I simply must praise the particle effects in this game. Gunfire, actual fire, sparks, electricity, smoke, xenomorph acid blood, the white milky blood of synthetics, it all looks so good. There's just a certain polish and crispiness, I don't know how else to describe it, a crispiness to the particle effects that just makes them so satisfying to behold. So yeah, the graphics in this game for the most part, pretty damn good. Up next, I want to take a moment to mention the game's story. I'll keep it short and sweet. While the narrative and plot of this game is obviously not its primary focus, the gameplay is. There is, however, a surprising amount of attention to detail and once again, reverence for the source material. While the story in this game is pushed to the side, if you decide to visit that side, you will be rewarded with delicious Aliens lore and references and world building. Examples include:
Marine, I heard you got scans of a facehugger. Let me see. A well-preserved specimen. I'm going to pass this to Esther for analysis. We have a lot to learn about Xenomorph XX-121's life cycle. Ovomorphs, eggs, and the facehuggers that hatch from them are easy to contain and study. Once the parasitic phase ends in a chest burster, it gets hard. Adult forms are hostile. Acid blood melts autopsy equipment. Studies are complicated by the DNA reflex. The host parasitized by a xenomorph changes the morphology and behavior of the adult form. Runner and prowler morphs breed from quadruped pack and herd animals, dogs, cattle. Drones and warriors, they come from humans. That's why civilians mistake them for the real form of Xenos. In reality, we've got no idea what the original form of Xenomorph XX-121 was.
Synthetics like myself are housed in hardware designed to mimic human form and programmed to simulate human emotion and behavior. While humans remain in hypersleep during voyages, mother systems and their synthetic counterparts maintain the ship. We do not suffer from boredom, loneliness, or infirmity as months pass. I have legs to move and hands to grasp. Endeavor's Mother 8500 system is confined within an immobile mainframe on decks 5 through 7. Should something physically break, I must perform the repair. Also, she relies on me to translate her thoughts for you and the rest of Endeavor's crew. Mother AIs are highly intelligent, but rarely interact with humans. You would find them brusque and impatient.
After the Frontier War in '84, everyone wised up on how the megacorps ran things out here. Weyland-Yutani was the big instigator. Illegal experiments, colony sabotage for insurance payouts. The company looks out for itself. Its money, its secrets, its execs. If we're keeping those safe, Weyland loves the Corps. If they think we're working against them, they'll fuck us over and smile when they do it. Remember that. Come on, you kidding? That was only... fuck. Yeah, a boot like you would have been a baby. Goddamn, you're making me feel old. Weyland-Yutani tried to provoke a shooting war between the United Americas and the Proggies, the Union of Progressive Peoples. Attacked each side, tried to frame the other. The company had collaborators in our own brass, staff officers on the take, Joint Chiefs boosting their stock portfolios. Oh, we had to clean house after the war.
So yeah, if you just want to play the game for the gameplay, the story won't get in your way. But, once again, if you are a fan of Alien, there's a lot to appreciate here. It's clear that Cold Iron Studios were very serious in respecting the lore and being considerate about how Fireteam Elite fits into the franchise as a whole. Now then, it's finally time to talk about gameplay. And in terms of third-person shooter combat, oh man, they nailed it. They nailed it. Appropriate feedback? Check. Readable, understandable, well-conveyed information to the player? Check. Smooth and responsive controls? Check. Oh, and an appropriate amount of spectacle? Oh, I think that goes without saying. Alien's Fireteam Elite is a third-person shooter that just feels good to play. It feels good to control. All of your actions are fluid and responsive. There's a surprising lack of jank, which really surprised me because when I play indie video games, when I play AA games, I expect a bit of jank here and there. Where AAA video game studios have literally hundreds of people testing and fine-tuning gameplay and having it be overviewed by industry veterans to make it feel just right. I mean, bruh, say what you will about the state of the AAA video game industry, you cannot lie, man. Some of those AAA video games, they feel smooth as butter. So the fact that a much smaller team with a much smaller budget, with far less resources at their disposal, were able to make their indie AA third-person shooter feel as good to play as a AAA one, that is impressive. That is a showcase of true talent right there. In addition to the great feedback and controls, we have the awesome arsenal of weapons at your disposal. There's actually a really impressive amount of weapons available in the game, each one being genuinely unique and behaving differently from the rest, and all of them feeling great to fire with really superb sound design. Complementing the excellent weapon design is the also excellent class design. As of recording this video, there are currently 6 classes available in the game: Gunner, Demolisher, Technician, Doc, Recon, and Phalanx. All of them genuinely playing different from one another in meaningful ways in terms of weapon selection, passive buffs, and kit abilities, allowing you to customize your playstyle and fill a specific role in a team. Gunner and Demolisher, all about that DPS, baby. Technician, a mix of DPS and support. Doc and Recon, all about that support. Doc for healing and buffing teammates, and Recon for providing buffs, ammo, debuffs on enemies and easily marking them for all to see. Finally, the Phalanx class, which was recently added in the game's first seasonal update, fills the role of the oh-so-classic tank. And thanks to all these weapons and all of these playable classes, just like the game's Vermintide and Payday before it, Aliens Fireteam Elite is bursting at the seams with replayability and variety, which is aided even further by the game's surprising amount of customization. There's an almost ludicrous amount of attachments available for your weapons, allowing you to not only change them visually, but provide significant stat boosts. On the character class side of things, we have this perk grid system, allowing you to mix and match and place different perk mods to buff and alter your abilities. And there is once again a surprising amount of mods to unlock and pick from. You can even mix and match different mods from other classes. While space may be limited on the grid, you can only do so much. There is still potential to go wild here with builds. Now, while we're still on the topic of customization, I have to mention the cosmetics. Yet again, the game surprised me with the massive amount of cosmetic options. Look at all these weapon skins. Look at all these weapon decals. Look at all this headwear for your Marine. There's also this really cool customization system in place with the weapon decals where you can place the weapon decal anywhere on the gun and you can adjust the size and shape, length, and width. It's genuinely really fucking cool and I want to see this in more games. There's something immensely satisfying about taking the iconic Aliens pulse rifle and being able to customize it to make your own personal badass version of it. Oh, but wait, there's more. We're not done talking about customization just yet. I have to talk about the challenge cards. Challenge cards allow you to dynamically affect and change missions in a variety of ways, altering gameplay either aesthetically, mechanically, or statistically. For example, play a mission with a black and white noir filter on. Change the mission so that all of the cannon fodder enemies are now exploding kamikazes. There's a challenge card that disables your HUD. There's a challenge card that has you taking double damage. There's a challenge card where there will be an infinitely respawning alien drone that will stalk you throughout the entire mission, almost making it feel like Alien Isolation a little bit. The challenge cards are such a wonderful addition to gameplay and progression, allowing you to earn extra rewards while spicing up your play sessions. I love it. You know what else I love? Killing shit in this game. Fighting xenomorphs, synthetics, and pathogen mutants is so much fun. It's so damn satisfying, especially the stars of the show, the xenomorphs. Such excellent video game enemies, with swarms upon swarms of runners acting as your cannon fodder, jumping and climbing all over the floor, walls, and ceiling trying to get to you, complemented by all the special alien types, with the classic and iconic alien drone and alien warrior acting as tanky, heavy hitters. We have prowlers acting as sneaky bastards trying to get the jump on you and pin you down, acid bloaters going full kamikaze, acid spitters shooting at you from range. Finally, the dreaded Crusher and Praetorians acting as the big bad mini-bosses. The xenomorphs are so much fun to fight, they're so much fun to kill, they look great, they sound great, and they can put up a real challenge, especially on the higher difficulties. Make no mistake, this ain't no ordinary bug hunt, especially when you take into account the other two enemy factions present in the game. While the pathogen mutants are more of a novelty and not too dissimilar from the Xenos, it's the synthetics that really change up your gameplay, forcing you to take cover to evade their gunfire and tactically reposition yourself in what are proper shootouts. Which, as my friend and fellow YouTube content creator Wizfish pointed out, combat against the synthetics felt surprisingly similar to playing The Division. Wizfish also made his own video review on Aliens Fireteam Elite. You should go watch it. But before I wrap up my own video I'm doing here on Aliens Fireteam Elite, there is one piece of content about the game that I should mention that actually disappointed me, and that was the Horde mode. Now, if you know anything about me, you know I love Horde modes. So when I found out you unlocked a Horde mode after completing all the campaigns, I was super excited. So I unlocked Horde mode, I went to play it, and it's just one map? And just one faction? Against the xenomorphs? What the fuck? Don't get me wrong, it's a good map, and killing xenomorphs is always a good time, but just one map? And no options or opportunities to fight the synthetics or the pathogen mutants in Horde mode? Dude, that's such a missed opportunity. Hell, you can't even use challenge cards in Horde mode. What? Why? So Fireteam Elite's Horde mode is at the very least serviceable, and I absolutely enjoy playing it, but it seriously needs more maps, it needs to add the other enemy factions, and it needs to enable challenge cards. There's just not as much variety in the Horde mode when compared to the campaign missions, and that's a damn shame. Here's hoping with future updates that Horde mode is improved upon. So, that was my video on Aliens Fireteam Elite, and I hope I was able to convey to you why this game is so special and why I highly recommend it. This game is easily going to be in my top 10 favorite video games of 2021. It's that good and I love it that much. Anyways, that's been a video. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did indeed like this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, share your thoughts. Share the video on social media, Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook. And if you want to help out and support me directly, there are links to donate on my Patreon and my Ko-Fi in the description down below. Anyways, once again, that's been a video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later.